What is going on, everybody? This is Drew here. I want to welcome you all to a brand new episode of Phoenix Down. This is Phoenix Down 126.0, and we are starting a new series. Today I have with me Anthony.
I am also here, yes.
Yes. Matt is away. He is doing NaNoWriMo, as he usually does in November. So I have invited Anthony on to bring up a game that he had played previously and had it kind of championed for a little while there. So much, in fact, that he convinced me to purchase the game a long time ago. In fact, I think it was a year ago. And Matt also got it because I told him, hey, we could probably do this for Phoenix Down. And kind of found out, me and Matt bought it on the exact same day. I think we paid $10 for it. And that is Fobia. Saint Dinfna?
Dude, I don't know. I don't even
Dinfna?
think they ever...
They never say it.
Yeah.
They've
No,
never said
I'm like
it.
even trying to think back. I'm like, no, I don't think they ever said it.
Yeah. Saint Dinfna Hotel.
And like, I have looked up this. The word is nothing.
I'm guessing
Like,
it's...
I don't even find a name. Like, this is what shows up. Phobia is what shows up.
When you look up Dinfna?
Yes.
Okay.
It's the only thing that comes up.
So, game came out June 28th of 2022, so a little over a year ago. Developed by Tricks Studios.
Yeah.
And according to this, they have only released one game. They have nothing coming, apparently.
Sure.
Yeah.
They have some stuff on their website. They have, give me 1 second here. I'm clicking in. Please, God, don't be noisy. A Kickstarter of something. Okay. So yes, they have nothing in development.
Kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, this was an indie title. So were you paying attention to this game, or did Ken just say, hey, you want to review this? And you said, yeah, sure.
I think maybe this was one of those ones that I looked up. When
like when Ken's talking about the news or whatever?
Yeah, because I was going to say, it wouldn't have been what's coming out this week, because I'm pretty sure I had it before release. Because just, we don't usually, if we're getting a code beforehand, we don't usually have it on the podcast day if it's coming out the same week, right? Like if it's... Anyways. Yeah, I know I knew of it, but I don't know how. But okay. I wasn't like... I don't think I asked for it. It was just, hey, we have this, and I was like, fine, I'll take it. You know what? It was probably one of Ken's, hey, I have these games, who wants to take the review for it?
Yeah.
And I took a look and said, yeah, I'll do that one. That's the most likely.
Because at that point, you had already played Resident Evil 2 Remake,
yes.
And kind of loved that. And you're like, okay, this gives me Resident Evil vibes.
And yeah, because I do want to say that, like, I think Dying Light is probably like the first horror game I really loved, but it is its own beast, right? Like, it's not like more classic ones like Resident Evil, and obviously this, because this is just first person Resident Evil.
Sure.
So yeah, I Resident Evil 2 really turned me on to the series, and I guess I saw something in this that I would have asked for it.
Yeah.
It's weird asking me out of context, because I it would have probably happened in such a short period of time that I would have probably just started playing it after it came up somehow, and then that part's forgotten, and I remember my playthrough of it.
Yeah.
And then writing the review and kind of being able to say to everybody, which is like a weird feeling to be like, hey, this is pretty good. Like, it's always weird when that's not the conversation being had at the moment, to come out with like just this random title that no one knows and being like, at the same time, it's like a big release,
Yeah.
Like if you came out at the same time as Spider-Man, right? Which was the same day as Mario Wonder, and you weren't either of those titles, like, if you're a good game, you are not getting the coverage.
Yeah, more than likely.
And I think that's kind of what happened to this.
You're probably right, because I'll be honest with you, the only way I know of this game is because of you and Ken talking about it. I don't think Ken's played it, but I know that you...
No, Ken has played it, but he's not finished it.
Gotcha. Because it was... I remember you guys talking about it on the podcast, and you're like, this is actually legit pretty decent. And, and you described a little bit of the horror elements and stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, I will say I was intrigued. I did pick it up at a deep discount. I think Amazon had it physically for like $10, and I was like, sure. And I went ahead and...
You have a physical copy?
I have a physical copy.
Well, that's kind of awesome, I'm going to be honest.
Yep.
I kind of wish... This is one of those games where I kind of wish I had it physically, because it is something just so uniquely indie.
Yeah. It's strange. Like, do you have any information on the developer, like where they're located? I'm guessing Spain?
Brazil.
Oh, Brazil.
Yeah,
Portuguese.
Give me 1 second. I believe, yes. I mentioned it because I'm pretty sure I mentioned that in one of the rooms in the hotel, there is a a crib, and inside that crib is a stuffed raccoon-like character, which is from Raccoon Venture, which is a other indie title from the same area. So okay. I'm pretty sure I mentioned that in my review, because why wouldn't I, as soon as I have that sort of weird knowledge.
Gotcha. Okay. Because everything in this game is a different language, and I couldn't tell. It reminded me of Spanish, and I was like, okay, so maybe it's a Spanish developer, something like that. But Portuguese, sure.
I think so. I'm trying to make sure I don't upset anybody by saying it's definitely Brazil.
I don't think you will. I mean...
yes.
I don't...
Yeah. So Diego Ross is the creator of Raccoon Venture, which is referenced in this. They're from the same area. He's from Brazil. We're good.
Okay. So yeah. That's the first thing I noticed was like, oh, okay. It's voiced in English. Okay.
It is okay, though, but I wasn't upset by that because I knew they were from another country, and generally that's Gene Rain.
Sure.
Right? Like, it's who can speak English sometimes, which I applaud the effort, but I prefer you just try to, even if it's a faulty translation, where they've done their best, but grammatically it's not correct. I appreciate that more than you trying to just voice act, because not everybody can do that in the first place.
Sure. It's okay though. I think it's fine.
There's some moments where you go, "Oh right, this is from another country."
Yeah, or just this is an indie dev who probably had a buddy.
Maybe there's a moment, and it only happens a couple times. The first time you pick up the phone in the lobby,
mm-hmm.
that moment, it's oh, he says something, and I just went, oh my gosh, no, that was not the proper way to deliver that line.
Yeah, but
I will say this though. If that's the English is so good, really, the fact that is a second language, goddamn, to only have those little moments. I could, please, if I try to speak Portuguese, they'd know it's really bad.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I think it's totally serviceable. It's fine. So.
There's not a lot of it anyways.
No, not really. I mean, one thing I will applaud, and it happens more now in modern games, but 10 years ago, you would typically just play a silent protagonist. this guy actually talks to himself. Like that's one of the big things. The original Dead Space, right? The original Dead Space, which I absolutely love. Isaac Clarke does not talk, and I was like, he's seeing all this crazy stuff. Wouldn't he just yell, "What the fuck?" Or something. Well, this guy actually does, and I was like, okay, it feels more realistic that way. Because if I was in that situation,
even with the stiff sort of acting, at least there's some acting,
Yeah,
like this is a character, because even though you control a lot of his actions, the story is set. Like his character development is set.
Yeah.
So let him talk if that's the case.
Right. But so start up the game, and it starts off in 1960.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. The time stuff, in my opinion, never pays off.
Yeah, well, I was a little confused to begin with. I was like, okay, so we're starting off like we're in prison. We're trying to get away from this place. Okay, all right.
I do like that. Like that moment, like feels like a very different game that we don't get anymore. That quick escape moment startup. Like we don't see that a lot. It's usually like a big action set piece now.
Yeah, typically. This so I'm hoping this plays a part, because
it does come together, but don't expect anything great. Like, enjoy. This is one of the few times where I agree with Ken. Just enjoy the ride.
Sure.
The atmosphere, the design, the puzzles. Oh my god, the puzzles. That is all where this game shines. Being a good horror story. No.
And yeah, I mean, the story, I don't give a crap about it, but that's one thing I will say, and I may be saying a bold statement here, but we just recently played through Resident Evil 4 Remake. The puzzles in this game are 10 times better than the puzzles in Resident Evil 4 Remake.
Dude, so this is why I fell in love with the game. At the end of the game, I've done... there's some puzzles I definitely couldn't figure out. I'm still not sure how they're solved. There's one with, I don't want to say they're filing cabinets, but they look like filing cabinets in a room, and you enter, and one of the drawers is open, and it has a note in it. And it's like, there seems to be a pattern to all this, or whatever. I still don't know, and that haunts me to this day.
I ran into that, but I didn't.
I don't know what it means. I don't know what they want. Like, I don't know if I'm supposed to notice something there and then carry it fucking like forbidden knowledge 10 hours later. Like, I don't know, because they do stuff like that in this game.
Yeah, I've collected multiple gears and don't know what to do with them.
Oh, man, I had so many pieces to like the typewriter or whatever it is that you can put a bunch of pieces into in the lobby. I think it's a typewriter. God, please let it be a typewriter.
It's like a typewriter or like a the Morse code thing. What's it called? Telegraph.
Oh, yes, that's what it was. Yes, it was. Yeah. So I had a bunch of pieces, and I still didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah, I haven't found any of those. Found the gears. I found two of the apparently 3 gears. No idea what to do with them. I've been putting them in the storage box. The thing from the very beginning. So, all right, we're skipping ahead of ourselves.
Yes, sorry. Yeah.
So
the puzzles overwhelmed me. Anyways, at the end of the game, it told me that like I had barely touched the puzzles in the grander scheme of things.
Oh, so they give you like a stat at the end telling you how many puzzles you solved?
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
It is the reason why I want to play the game again right away.
Exactly.
Because not only was the number really low, I would have estimated that maybe I did half the puzzles, and it was like way more than that I hadn't even seen.
Exactly. It's not even solving the puzzles, finding them.
Yeah.
because I've ran in, I've went like backtracked, and I was like, oh, what the hell is this? And I was like, I didn't see this, and I'm like, oh, this is a whole nother puzzle that I don't even know what it leads to, But yeah, all right, 1960, this guy wakes up in a cell, and he's in like the basement of this area. He has to escape. He has a note with a key saying you need to run, get out of here. So we unlock it. He finds like this like guard desk, and his journal is there. And he finds that there's a profile on him. He's like, oh, they've got records of me everywhere. And he's like, I gotta protect my journal at all costs. So this is where we kind of get introduced to kind of like it's not necessarily a puzzle, but it is a puzzle solving issue where you got to find a hiding place for his journal. So we lock it up in another cell, put it behind a brick wall. Like there's a brick that you can pull out, and we stuff it there, and we're like, all right, we got to get out of here. Well, as soon as we leave this room, we get attacked by, I don't know what this guy is. He's got a drill and a flamethrower thing. He looks a little bit like the Tyrant or the Nemesis from Resident Evil.
They clearly try to sell him as that too.
Yeah. Or Mr. X, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I would say Nemesis, sort of. Yeah.
Yeah.
Big weapons on the arms and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I run, and I find a locked door that I can't open, and he impales me. And I'm like, okay, I must have done this wrong. And then it shows the opening credits. There's the title card. I'm like, oh, so that's just the intro. Okay, cool. What's that?
Guess I'm not playing as him.
Yeah. Well, then I noticed that like the cutscene showing like a car going down a road, and I'm like, oh, that's a modern day car. At least it's what it looks like. And then it pulls up to this hotel. I'm like, oh, okay, so this was in the past, and now we're in the present day, I guess. Not necessarily present day. It's 2009 because we see it on the calendar. But we take over as the main protagonist, which is Roberto. And he is some form of journalist who is looking up on a case in the area of missing people and strange supernatural occurrences. So he has came to this hotel to investigate. And when he first checks into his hotel, it shows a cutscene of basically days going by. He's been there a week, and he's come up with no new leads. And then something weird happens. He's getting a shower, and this weird like anomaly black hole thing shows up in the shower.
That happens throughout the game.
It does.
It's
kind
of explained. Like, I don't remember it fully, so I'm playing the game again because again the story wasn't the important part to me. But if I recall, it's like even if it's explained in full, it's not very satisfying.
Gotcha.
Really, this game, like, the villain is a guy with, like his face is just, like, basically a gas mask.
So, after he sees this anomaly, he blacks out. And he wakes up, and he feels a wound on his head. He's bleeding from his head, like somebody knocked him out. And his room is a complete disaster zone. Looks like somebody has rummaged through it. And he's like, he doesn't know what's going on. Like, he don't know how long he's been out, nothing like that. And so begins like the full game. The first thing you got to do is figure out how to get out of the room. Room's locked, and so you have to start solving puzzles. and there's like 5 puzzles in this room to begin with. One thing I does the game tell you that you don't need something anymore?
No.
Okay. At the very beginning of this game, I picked up what looked like a rollover calendar that I used to solve a puzzle. It's been in my inventory since the beginning of the game. Should I just trash it? I don't know if I ever...
No, don't trash anything in this game.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Just drop it off at your box and don't touch it again.
Got it.
Right? Because that box, if I'm correct, is infinite space, essentially.
I guess. I don't know. I've put a lot of stuff in it.
Here's the thing. Like, there are times, like, where you will have something and you'll go, this is probably important, keep it, and then you'll go, I don't need this, put it in your box, and then be like, oh, fuck, that's what that's for.
Okay.
Not, like, all the puzzles, obviously, but it's just some of them are, and then you realize, I have to hold on to everything.
Yeah. And the good thing is like when you find a note, it's not like you just read it and put it back down. You can take it and it stays in your inventory, but not inventory, but like in your files, so you can always reference it again, because holy crap, you're going to need to reference stuff. This game is like a pencil and pad kind of game.
I actually did that for my playthrough.
You kind of have to.
Because all those puzzles that you solve end up giving you ammo and everything.
Yeah, which I need a lot of.
Right, so I like the fact that instead of just kind of being like, here's the ammo dump after you get the key, which there are some of those, it's like, no, there's a puzzle in this room and you have to figure out what the puzzle is, sort of, and then solve it.
Right.
Most of them are kind of clear, but some of them are a little more obtuse, and then clearly there's a lot that are, because I didn't find them.
It's this game is full of puzzles, which I told you, like, in my first day of playing it, I was like, all right, I'm going to need to take my time with this, because so the one thing this game carries over, like, from Resident Evil is save locations. There is no auto save. There is no manual save. You can only save at certain locations, which is like a big, like, grandfather clock thing. And so far I've put 2.5 hours in this game and have ran into 3 save spots.
So this is I understand like game design wise why this happens, but like the weird difficulty curve, because the idea is that as you go further on, it should be more of a challenge, but the progression is opening more and more routes through the hotel.
Right.
So how do you balance that?
By making larger chunks of gameplay.
Yeah.
And having to, like, I can't just stop now because I haven't found the save spot, but I've made a lot of progress.
So I will say this. There's a moment where there's a point of no return for the hotel segment, and then you go into a smaller finishing area.
So does the majority of this game take place in the hotel?
Yes. Well, yes,
okay.
Except for the flashbacks that happen.
Okay, because I was thinking, I was like, I feel like I'm getting kind of close to the end of the hotel.
No. So here's the thing. You're still only on one side of the hotel, for the most part. You cut through sometimes, but not... I swear to God, all the rooms in this hotel should be open by the end.
Damn.
Yeah, and like you start to realize there are areas you haven't been to because they require you to open up. Wait, like, man, this it's so brilliantly designed. Everybody told me like the original Resident Evil sort of does that, right?
Yeah.
Where like you come out somewhere where you like I didn't even think how that would be connected. This kind of does that, but floor by floor.
Yeah.
So like you'll come out of one room, be like, "Oh, I'm in the part that I couldn't access because there was rubble in the way."
Yeah. Yeah, I've noticed that too. But man, so I told you this. I was like, man, I feel like I'm halfway through this game, and I've only put 2 hours into it. Like, everything feels a lot longer in this game. Like, like when I saved for my last time, I was like 2 hours and 30 something minutes, and I'm like, man, I feel like I've put like 7 hours in this game.
Yeah, I will say that this game, my total time on my original playthrough was 9 hours.
There you go.
It felt probably more like 14. But
Is it just because of the puzzles?
I think so. I honestly think so. Because, when I look back at it now, because I don't remember the puzzles in detail, but I remember kind of the movement through the hotel and everything. Because, already going back through it, a year later or whatever, I'm like, oh yeah, this connects to here later. Oh, this is where that staircase is, right? But I open it there. But I can't remember the puzzles through it. It's a brilliant design. I'm sorry. No. This is one of my favorite things about this game is just like, hey, figure out a bunch of puzzles and then make your way through this maze.
Yeah, that's a man.
Which is sad to say because they do the same things to rats in labs. Can you solve the maze and do the puzzles?
Right.
Yes, I can. Give me the cheese.
I mean, that's the thing. Is like I told you that I was like, I could go without the combat and just do exploration and puzzles. And, creepy vibe if you want to. So yeah, we're talking, we're jumping back and forth. I mean,
I know.
And it's hard, but it's hard to do this game because while the game is kind of linear, there's a lot of optional stuff that you can run into. There were times where I was playing this game where I was like, I don't feel like I should be here right now.
The reason why I asked yesterday that if you were liking it was because I was worried if you didn't, we were only going to do one episode, and I could at least be like, well, the puzzles were good though, right?
No. I'm actually enjoying the game. Now, I will say I don't like the combat. I just don't.
No, it's not good. It's not like I didn't like the combat, but at the same time, and I know you disagree with this, but I found when I played through it, I had just way too much ammo.
Yeah, I definitely don't.
When it's I just remember being like, well, I'm just going to use the pistol. Other things are definitely stronger, but the pistol, I have so much ammo, I'll just beat him by just keep shooting at him. Because there's only 2 enemy types. Have you seen you seen the humanoid thing?
Oh yeah.
You seen the little spider bite thing?
Yeah, that's the first thing you run into.
There you go. So that's both of them.
Yeah.
There's bosses. I will say that there's 3.
3 bosses.
Yeah, I want to say 3.
I haven't ran into one of those yet because I said, "How far you want to play to?" And you said, "Just do the first boss."
I thought the first boss was a lot sooner. I apologize. Going through myself, I'm like, "Oh, that's right." Now you've already seen a hint of the. Okay, so the problem is how do you describe a hotel? You have to do it by room, right? That's basically the progression of this game. But
yeah,
a lot of rooms have 2 floors, so now we're in trouble, right? The second floor of the opera area, right where the piano is, you can hear the piano playing when you're up above.
I don't think I've got there yet.
You haven't you've gotten the pistol, right?
Yes. Yeah,
no, you've already been there.
Huh.
So when you first, he pushes the thing out of the side. Okay, he pushes the thing out of the side, and then you're it tells you to shoot how to shoot.
Yeah.
Right. And then you do that, and then you're up in the balcony. To the right side is some sort of foyer thing, and then the other side is the theater, I guess.
Okay, yeah.
and there's a piano on stage, and when you walk along the sides, if you listen, you can hear the piano playing, and that is a future thing that happens as a boss.
Okay.
And then the other thing is, like, if you look around the hallways, they really tease the big first boss too, and it's like, okay,
Yeah, I run into a bunch of goo stuff.
yeah, well, it's, but where did the little spider things come from? It's kind of that goo, and then it's like, well, it's a big spider related boss. Woohoo.
Sure.
I'm not saying this game is original, and honestly, the combat is like the most just like, ugh. Okay, all right. Like, this is fine. This is, again, this is the definition of fine. Like, if you ask me if this was just a combat game, it's a 5.
Yeah.
It is not offensive. It is not great. I will probably forget this.
So there's a lot going on in this game. So you got the combat, you have enemies that you have to fight, right? There's ammo scarcity. There's inventory management, and then there's puzzles. But on top of that, on top of the puzzles, the environment itself is a puzzle. Because at the very beginning of the game, while you're still in your room, you combine a camera together. And I thought the camera was going to be kind of like your flashlight, where it's like dark, and you have to pull
can
up.
make it into one essentially.
Yeah. And because you can use night vision, but that's not the case. This camera is like a camera obscura or something.
Yeah. Sure.
Where when you pull it up to your face, you're seeing what I'm thinking is the past.
Yes.
So kind of like Singularity, if you remember that game.
Could you
what?
Could you do that anywhere in Singularity?
Well, yeah, you could. There was
Man,
constantly
I don't remember that
parts.
game.
Yeah, there was constantly parts where you were going between modern day and like 1960s.
Yeah, I remember.
Something.
I just couldn't remember. Like, I didn't think you actually controlled it.
Yeah. Because you can you eventually got powers where you could like throw out time stuff and make like stuff rust away.
Yeah, no, I remember that. No, I thought. Okay, sorry. I was when you said it, I was picturing like an actual rift. I remember the effect now.
Yeah. But yeah, when you bring the camera up, you're seeing, I guess, into the past. And
this is also never really explained.
Oh, wonderful.
Again, if it was, I don't remember. It wasn't good enough for me to remember.
I'm sure it might have been in a note somewhere or something.
There's a lot of those.
But yeah, you bring the camera up and you're looking into the past where you can actually interact with it. So let's say I'm at a wall, but if I pull my camera up, the wall has a hole in it and I can actually walk through it. So there's puzzle solving that way as well.
I love when there's like a note in like one of the timelines that helps you with the puzzle and the other.
Yeah. Or items. You can just straight up grab items.
That one weirds me out. Because like I don't really understand how that works. I guess it's no longer there because I reached through time and took it.
Yeah. Or is it time? Is it another dimension?
I don't know. I like... Yeah, I don't know.
When you look through the camera, you see a lot of what looks like laboratory or hospital stuff. So it feels like this hotel was used as like a lab.
Yeah, again, that is one part that is kind of explained.
Okay.
Again, probably not satisfactory, but is explained.
And then on top of that, there is this like little girl in a gas mask that's constantly showing up. And I'm like, is this like the Alma character from Fear?
It's kind of, I'll say it, it's kind of cringy. I think that's honestly a big part of why this game flopped too.
So that's the thing is like at the very beginning of this game, I'd say like the first probably 30 minutes, I see that girl everywhere. I'm walking down a hallway, I see her run across the hallway, and all right, I'll put it. All right, I want to make a comparison. This is a bad comparison. It's not fair.
Hold on, I have to ask one question.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see the one when you open the door just a little bit and the chain stops it?
Yeah, yeah. So
And
that's
then
the one
you
I'm.
observe the chain and then she pops out.
Yep.
It didn't scare me, but I went, that was pretty good.
So yeah, so that's what I was going to say. So that's the one I'm talking about. So you go to a door, the chain is holding the door, and then you can interact on the chain. And basically, if you had like bolt cutters or something, you could cut the chain. But I don't have it in my inventory. But the camera shifts almost like in a Resident Evil game, where the camera will shift to the chain, and you can see the chain and see the crack in the door, and then for a split second, she shows up in the crack of the door, and then disappears or just like runs away. And I was like, okay, that didn't scare me, but that's clever. I get it because you think you're in a menu.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, it looks like it's pre-rendered.
Yeah.
Because all those were just always static, so if there was ever motion, it like slideshow faded over into the next.
So that's why I was going to make the comparison. So this is, like I said, this is not fair, but it instantly made it pop into my mind. Do you remember the Wii game Ju-On the Grudge?
Oh God.
So
oh, that keeps bad. That's
I know
fair.
it's very bad. It's very bad. But so we played that on our stream. This was years ago. And we just laughed our asses off at it the whole time because there was constantly. It didn't matter what you were doing. It was like you could just be standing there, and the little Ju-On Grudge boy would pop up on the screen, but it's just like a picture of him, so it's like a JPEG pops up, and it looks like the toasty guy, and that's what it reminded me of. It's
poorly cropped too.
So it was probably. I can't remember if it was badly cropped or what, but that's what it reminded me of because I just popped. I was like, oh, it's the Grudge guy, and then of course I went back to toasty, and I was like, oh, there. I was like, okay. I was like, that's cute. I'll just put it that way. That's cute.
That is funny.
Yeah.
When you said we, I was thinking like back to what was the point of that era? Because like all the Fatal Frame games that are not good came out on Wii. And that was where they introduced like the hold the button to move closer to the thing. And if you just hold the button, the hand might come out and startle you. And that's it.
You know what the
point
Wii was? Exactly. You know what the Wii was? The Wii was not VR was what it was trying to be. It was trying to be. Think about it.
It's probably why the best games are not that.
Exactly. I mean, when they're actually games,
except for like Wii Sports, because Wii Sports still kind of is awesome, but everything else was kind of bad.
Dude, House of the Dead Overkill is one of the best games on that system.
I want to get Typing of the Dead Overkill still, because that is a thing that exists.
I'm sure.
And I kind of want it, but I'm just every time I look at it, I'm like, it's too much money, man. It's too much money for a typing tutorial. Yeah,
it's true. But yeah, but that's the thing is like early on they do the gas mask girl a lot, and then she just freaking disappears. Like
she does come back, but like that was keep that up is the thing I'd say to everybody that makes a game that does this, because half the time like it's really strong, and then just I forgot about it.
I don't know.
The only game I could think of that does that sort of like, I don't want to say like the follower or whatever character is Half-Life, where like you turn around like, oh, the G-Man's there, and it's like pretty constant throughout.
Yeah,
they don't do that in this game. Which is fine, because I'm going to be honest with you, a lot of the stuff in this game, like, character-wise, I'm just like, design, not great.
Yeah. So
like, the zombies are cool the first time you see them, and then...
Yeah, now I'm just like, oh, good, it's one of these guys.
Yeah, shoot for the heart.
Yep, shoot for the heart. which I never can hit.
7 bullets later.
7 bullets later, he's dead.
1 full clip.
Yeah, a whole freaking clip. But I don't know. Like they start off with creepy vibes. Try to go with creepy vibes. I have not been scared in this game. That's okay. It's not like I'm blaming the game for it or anything like that. But I guess they're trying to do that combo of both tension and just scary stuff. Because you got the survival horror part of the game. Because I'll be honest with you, there was a part in this game where I had taken so much damage, I was like, if I get hit one more time, I'm going to die. And I had no healing items. And I'm just like, great. Because I was like, do I use the last clip that I have?
I'm going to have to check. I'm sorry. Like, I did not have the same issues with this game. Like, did I die? Yes, I definitely did. But, like, the running out of ammo and taking damage, like, I don't remember having these issues. I wasn't having these issues last night either.
Maybe I just suck. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that seems out of character.
I mean, yeah, I play a lot of survival horror games. So there was one that was like I don't even know how I died. I know how I died. I ran into an enemy.
Maybe this game requires like reverse experience, like lack of.
Maybe, I don't know.
Like he's dumb in the art. He'll enjoy this.
My thing is like I feel like sometimes I can't hear the enemies, and so that screws me over. Like, I got killed because I didn't hear an enemy, and he was apparently just right beside me.
Oh. Yeah, I could see that happening.
Also,
there's a moment later in the game where I was, like, startled by an enemy because of where it was placed, but if I'd taken my time, I probably would have heard it.
So, I think I know what happened. So, I died. All right, there was a part where I died, and I lost, like, 30 minutes or 40 minutes of gameplay, because the last time I'd saved was in that flashback, and I'd already made a lot of progress through the other part of the hotel, and I was like, what? So I just started all over, and I kind of like sped run the to get back to where I was. With the enemy that I did not realize was beside me, I could see the enemy. He's up in the ceiling. It's one of the humanoid ones. He's up in the ceiling, and I get, so if I get close, he drops down and comes after me. I have yet to get that guy to drop down. So I'm just like, was it a fluke? Was it just a random enemy that is not there now? Like, I don't know. I can't replicate what happened. So I don't know.
I mean, some of the enemies you face don't respawn in the same location later. Like, some are, like, event. Because, like, going through the hotel later, you'll find zombies where they weren't, or more zombies than there were. But, I mean, by that point, it's pretty, like, who cares? Just shoot them. But, yeah, I don't know that moment off the top of my head.
I mean, yeah, it was close to where I've kind of stopped. It's, on the first floor, overlooking the balcony where you go into like oh man, I got a key to get to a key. Like, that's the best way I can describe it. Was going around the stairs. There's like the library, and half of the library is surrounded by the goo stuff, and the other half's not.
That's where a boss fight takes place.
Okay, well, I'm getting close to a boss fight.
Yes,
then.
you are.
Okay. I
think you might get the shotgun right before the boss fight.
Good, because holy crap.
But don't quote me on that.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's basically where I ended it. In fact, I was like, okay, well, there's a save spot down the stairs, so I'm just going to go down the stairs, save again, and I'll come back up. But yeah, I don't know. So yeah, I'm skipping around. So with the story, whatever the story is, Roberto is getting help from Stephanie, who was his correspondence. So originally he came to the hotel because he was on some kind of a forum or message board talking about supernatural stuff. And this Stephanie woman said, hey, you need to check out this hotel. And she said she was going to meet him there. And he waited there for a week, and she never showed up. So he was like, I'm leaving. But then all this weird stuff started happening. Now he's trapped in the hotel. The hotel's completely destroyed, and it's filled with monsters. So occasionally he'll get a phone call. He like one of the phones in the lobbies or something like that will ring. He'll answer it, and it's Stephanie. And the first time you answer the phone, talk to her, she's like, is this Roberto? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, what the hell are you still doing there? And he's like, what are you talking about? And she said, it's been a year. And he's like, I've been trapped in this hotel for a year and I don't remember it. And I'm like, what? Okay. So something's going on. Is this some kind of Death Stranding thing?
No, it's not that good.
No.
I know you didn't like Death Stranding, but like, give it some credit. There's at least stuff that like makes you think.
I will agree with that.
This game does not make you think in that way.
No, I just like,
this
okay, it's
game
been a
is
year.
too busy trying to fuck with your head.
Yeah, with the puzzles. Holy crap.
Oh my god.
So, you start off on the 5th floor. At the beginning, you have access to the 5th floor and the 6th floor. Half of the 6th floor is blocked off by burning rubble. You eventually solve enough puzzles and get enough keys to where you can get on the other side of the rubble. And then you can then go back to the other part of the 5th floor that you haven't explored yet. After that, you find items where you can repair the elevator. The elevator will then take you to a higher floor. You can go up to like the 7th floor.
Yep.
And then going up to the 7th floor, I feel like there was nothing there except a door that I could not open because I needed the special key, which I haven't got yet at that point. And then Stephanie talks about the 8th floor, and that's where I need to meet her because apparently there's a way out of this place on the 8th floor. Okay, are we jumping? But I'm able to repair the elevator some more and go down to the 1st floor.
You know, you just said something that would, like, this is where the logic brain makes this game really stupid.
Okay.
Those trees beside the house go pretty high. Just break one of the windows. Leave.
This is true. Yeah, this is true.
Like, why are you staying?
Yeah, I mean, typically, if I'm in a place with burning rubble...
If I've just been drugged or something and wake up a year later in the same place and it's all gone to shit, like, I mean, come on, leave. Even if it was a good time, it's bad now. Leave.
Yeah, it's time to go. Yeah, well, I mean, you can't look into logic in this game. But, yeah, going into the... So before we get to the 1st floor, we figured out how to get to the 1st floor, but we get stopped by Nemesis guy. He's chasing after us. He's coming straight for us. He's blocking our way between us and the elevator. Okay? I had to take damage here because I don't know of any other way to avoid it.
Yeah, you kind of have to do that.
But there's an achievement in this game for beating it without taking damage.
I'm sure there is a way, but, like, are you looking to speedrun this?
Absolutely not.
Exactly, don't fucking care. Like, at some point, just take the damage from some of these guys and just... When you can, obviously. When you when you're making a shot and just take the hit, you know?
Yeah.
Don't be stupid. Don't try to, like, just tank it all that you're gonna die, but...
Yeah. Well, he kind of grabbed me and threw me behind him. I was like, oh, okay, well, this is my chance to run.
Yeah, they do that a lot with that character when they are telling you to not fight him. Because guess what? You can down him, but he'll get back up.
Yep. That is Mr.
And
X.
the amount of bullets it takes is so fucking absurd that they hope you give up before you get there. But I was stacked.
Nah, I definitely wasn't. So
I had to use like every bullet in every gun, but I got there before the machine gun ran out.
well, there you go.
Also, yeah, but again, generic weapons, just
Yeah, pistol, shotgun, machine gun. There you go.
I do want to say, like, I clearly didn't like the combat when I wrote this review. But how about that combat? The combat is okay. While the exploration and puzzles are fantastic, and I don't want to spoil that stuff, combat is nothing special. Unfortunately, combat is strictly gun-based, and guns require ammo, and that puts Fobia into a strange place. Without a melee weapon, what does the player do when ammo runs out? I think Pulsatrix Studios' answer was to inundate the player with so much ammo, mainly pistol, that the likelihood of running out is next to none. This is why I'm surprised that you are having ammo issues. Maybe they read my review and patched the game.
They may have patched it and just said, "Well, there's an option. There's an option in the game, if I'm not mistaken. So there's a couple. There's no difficulty that you can choose, but there are options like I haven't turned it on, so I don't know. I'm guessing it's a tell me where to go option, and or just like give me an objective.
Yeah,
option.
I didn't turn that on either. I left basically everything at default.
But I'm pretty sure there is a ammo helper option where like the game will say, "Oh, he's almost out of ammo. Give him somewhere." So maybe did you have that option on?
No, because like I would open every drawer.
Oh, I do too.
I would sit in a room and just kind of look and make sure there was no puzzles before I left. I don't know, man. Like I just scavenge like shit, like everywhere. Dude, you start. I know it seems like they'll be in drawers. No, they start putting it in the environment too.
Well, I know. I've seen some.
Okay.
I just like suck and.
But I mean, like, dude, this whole. Where were all these puzzles I missed? That like I didn't even know existed.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? Like this game has shit hidden everywhere, so I wouldn't be surprised if like I just happened to stumble onto some stuff, and then even then I missed a bunch.
Yeah, because I feel like I totally went into like an optional area where like I went down like a cellar door, like it was down in like a basement area. And there was just an upgrade cube there.
Yeah, the upgrade cubes, I think you get to, like, if you have a bunch of upgrade cubes and don't use them during the game, when you get Noob Game Plus, you get to bring them over and recollect them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I have enough for a couple upgrades.
Honestly, it's worth doing the upgrades just on stuff you want. I know you want the shotguns, so you're not going to use them, but still, like, I don't think the value of saving them, like, the value of having the shotgun is immediately when you have ammo. Like, when ammo starts showing up for certain weapons, you do not have that gun yet. So, like, being able, that alone is kind of a bonus for New Game Plus. But still, like, whatever makes the game easier for you.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do the achievement runs later.
Oh, I'm not worried about that. But man, this game gives out achievements though. You open up the item box for the first time and give you an achievement. Save the game 3 times, you get an achievement. Discard 5 items, you get an achievement. Combine 5 items, you get an achievement. I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, just get rid of 5 items and then reload your save.
Reload your save, basically, yeah. I don't know.
Pro gamer strat.
Yeah, that's...
This is called cheating the system. Politicians and investment bankers have been doing it for years.
Yeah, whatever floats your boat. But, yeah, it's... I don't know. So I've ran into some puzzles that... Some of the puzzles are kind of straightforward. So I've ran into a few that the solution is kind of in the room. But there are some that are just like, I've got this item, I have no idea what to do with it. I will store it until I need it again. And then I'm in a whole nother part of the hotel and I'm like, oh, I can put that there. And, I put it there and it leads to a whole nother thing.
There's already so much space in this hotel. There's so many floors and rooms. And then you'll open up another spot and you'll be like, how the fuck?
Yeah.
How have I not seen this whole fucking hotel?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's... Every floor is kind of the same. It has the same amount of rooms. And you can theoretically go in all of them. And there's, from what I understand, 8 floors of this hotel. And I'm just like,
some of them are, they really kind of destroy the rooms.
Right.
Kind of, so you do get skimped. Sorry, you don't get all, 80 rooms? Whatever it would be. But, I mean, a lot of it's still intact. And I really like how the lobby is such a different feeling because it's so open in comparison to the cramped hallways.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
And when zombies, or whatever the fuck they are, start showing up in the lobby, it's like, oh, fuck, I was okay here.
Yeah. That's when you have your big revelation. That I'll never forget Resident Evil 2. Because the hallway.
The remake?
Yeah. The hallway was always a safe spot, and then all of a sudden Mr. X can go through the hallway, and I'm like, oh, good. I'm screwed.
What really got me, because I didn't know that in the original, what got me was I was in the library, and I was like, I'm going to climb this ladder. This big fucker is going to climb this ladder? Please. And I climbed the ladder, and I turn around, and I'm like, watch him. He's going to have to walk to the other side of the room. And he just grabbed the ladder and jumped up, and I'm like, fuck.
It's so good. God, I want to replay that. It's so damn good.
I just love how, every time you're like, I've outsmarted him. I've hid in this STARS office. And if you just listen, you can hear him stomping around outside, and you're like, oh, goddamn, I'm going to be here for a while.
Uh-huh.
Because and then, what is it, the AI, there's always technically 2?
Yeah, because he can't physically move there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I saw the Out of Bounds video where they're there's technically 2 of them, yeah.
That whole system is impressive. And then, what really got me, sorry, I know we're talking about a better horror game, but what really got me was when I thought he was done with, and or I knew I was gonna fight him later, but it's the sequence where you're what is it, turning on power or whatever when you're in the factory area or the lab area, and he walks by the window. You're like, oh fucking god damn it!
Yep,
and he's walking towards you. No, god damn it! That's the only way out of here.
Yeah, man.
That's
so good.
That's a different type of horror that I wish I got more of. That's the reason why I like Dying Light 1 so much, was when you are out at night, they are right on you.
Creepy. That is this. Oh man, Dying Light. The first. It's so sad to think about Dying Light 2.
Yeah.
How they
I've heard Dead Island 2 is really good.
I've heard Dead Island 2 is great.
What a weird place we're at. But yeah, no, I this was a weird one because I'm pretty sure I'm not. Yeah, even I don't really compliment the horror other than no unearned scares, which is true because there's not a lot of scares, but none of them are just random jump scares.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I am entering a room, or I am looking at that door frame, or I am going down a hallway, and then, the bookcase fell, and I conveniently get line of sight cut off from the little girl so she can despawn.
Despawn, yeah.
But it's still well done. What an ingenious way to force the player to do that.
Yeah.
Right? But that's the only thing I compliment with the horror aspect. I do compliment the atmosphere. I think it is fantastic. I also think the layout is fantastic. I say a
Yeah,
decent story because it is a story at the end of the day. It is not nonsensical. It's just not great.
sure.
But like well done voice acting. But yeah, like none of it's the horror aspect, and none of it's the combat either. The camera seeing through time is a great concept.
I don't use it as much as I did at the beginning.
You will learn to kind of just check everywhere with it.
Okay.
Because you will find some rooms where literally you walk in, you've taken all the stuff, and you'll be like, "That's what that room was for." Then you realize, "Wait, I did not use the camera in there," and there'll be more stuff.
Yep. I've ran into that.
And yeah, like the final point I make is some of the best observational puzzle design I've seen in quite some time.
Yeah, like so.
Which
Well,
is weird because like it's a horror game. Like I'm saying it's a great puzzle game. It's weird to say. Because maybe
yeah.
I sold this game wrong to people, saying it was really good because like everybody will look at it and go, "It's a horror game," which I guess is kind of true because you can't disengage from that portion.
I would say this is an exploration puzzle game first, wrapped around a survival horror game. Because man, do they push these puzzles like pretty hardcore. Like I know Resident Evil and Silent Hill have their fair share of puzzles, and especially the old school ones.
Yeah, which I liked RE2 remake for because it did have some of those puzzles still, and that's honestly
Yeah.
the reason why I keep telling myself to play the Silent Hill games, even though I've watched enough videos on them to know those games inside and out at this point. I still want to play them, and this ain't it. I
Nah.
forgot my point. But I mean, this ain't anything like those. This is you're right, but it's just this is how it's sold.
Yeah.
And the puzzles like in Silent Hill are good, but like this is like that even more. But then like there's no horror aspect.
Yeah.
But like it is a horror game, you know. Like you can't sell this to someone that doesn't like horror because there's horror, and there's gore, and there's creepy stuff.
Yeah. That my thing is like there's this straight up full on puzzles in this game, man. Like especially so we go back in time. So after we escape the Nemesis dude and we go to the first floor, we then take over as a different character. I think his name's Christopher. I can't remember.
I'm gonna just say yes.
Okay.
Who cares? Like I'm sure there's the option. You can name whatever you want. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The
This guy
the extensive
is,
lore is not there.
no. They try to push it a little bit, especially in this.
They
little
try, but
back-
it's not. You know,
Yeah.
there's no sequel to this game.
So this is like in 1920, I believe. And you're like in this cabin in the woods, and this guy, it's like his house, and it's a very short segment. The one thing I will give it is they try to add a little bit of atmosphere. I was thinking they were kind of going with like an eldritch horror kind of thing. Because you got to go find a bunch of keys. Got to get into his office. Okay, well, got to go find a key to the kitchen. Then you
There's a
gotta go
later segment that I did not like.
Oh.
That was longer of this.
Mm-hmm.
It's not terrible. Again, the complaints with this game end up being not so distracting that you go, I can't believe this ruined the experience. It's just kind of there, and you have to bring it up.
Is there any stealth part in this game?
Not that I remember.
Okay, all right.
You know what? That's a good point. This is a game that would have that.
Yeah, that's the thing I'm fearing. But
no. That's one thing that will always like make me angry is a bad stealth segment in a game that didn't need it at all.
yeah. So yeah, you have to go to get the kitchen key to then get the office key. Every time you get a key and you walk around this cabin, this thing starts to deteriorate like stuff goes on the walls and things are looking trashed every time you turn around, stuff like that. So I'll give them that. They're trying to make it almost like a sanity effect a little bit. But as far as I can tell, this Christopher guy is in this area, and he is observing these people who seems like some kind of a cult or something. And he has this key to assemble this key, and it has like these little rings that go around it. And he's basically developed this thing, and
remind me, this is the same key you get in current day, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so that was an aspect, just because we probably won't really mention the key because we'll just use it later on.
Mm-hmm.
But getting new pieces of it was always satisfying.
Yes.
Because you're just like, all the places I can open up.
Yeah, because I've been running into the locks.
This is kind of Metroidvania. I hate that term. But this is kind of that.
Yeah. So I've been noting mentally where these doors are that I'm like, I need this special key for. Yeah, but he has the key.
Don't note the doors as much as some of the smaller boxes.
Yeah, I've noticed the boxes too.
Because the doors you kind of generally go through.
Okay.
Plus, later on, you'll get a, what is it? No continuation from this point or whatever.
Right.
So when you get that, just choose not to and go through the hotel one last time.
Gotcha. But, yeah, in the modern day, when we go back to modern day after doing this little experience, we go around the first floor. This is our new little hub area for the time being. There's a save point here. We get the key. We solve a couple puzzles and we get the key, and we get this box. It's almost like a puzzle box because it's a puzzle with a bunch of other puzzles inside of it. And I was like, man, this is like full on it's a puzzle game. I felt like I was playing a full puzzle game with you're having to match up these symbols and rotate these blocks and stuff like that. And I was like, man, and I don't think I'm fully done with the puzzle yet. The puzzle box, because there's parts of it I'm like, I don't know what to do here, and I could just back out of it, and it's still in my inventory. I'm like, okay,
this game is a lot of that.
Yeah.
Why do I still have this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
it's needed for something. Without spoilers, because I don't fully remember, I'm pretty sure that little triangular calendar thing comes up much later.
Okay.
So, just assume I'm right, and if I'm wrong, I'll, take the flogging.
Well, I can't trash it, so whatever.
Oh, I remember. Yeah, that's right. So, what it was I didn't have it on me, and there was no box I don't think I could access anymore.
Oh, gotcha.
Maybe. If something like that, because if I couldn't trash it, then yeah, I should have. Okay.
So yeah,
it's all coming back to me because it's been way too long. And again, the story is generic. The puzzles are just fun to solve in the moment. But do you remember every Sudoku?
No.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's. But yeah, I was able to get that key. I've got a key that goes to, I guess, the ballroom area, and that's where I stopped. I was like, okay, I feel like I've made decent progress. Let me go save my game one more time. And I saved it, and it said I was at 2 hours and 30 minutes. And I'm like, man, I feel like I played this game for 7. And,
is it a bad 7, though?
No, that's the thing. Is I feel like, I was like, man, I feel like I've done a lot of progress in this game. And then I see my playtime.
Maybe this is ironic saying it, and maybe it's because I'm just inebriated enough to think this way. But this is a podcast-ass game.
Yeah.
Podcast on. go ahead and listen to it and go solve some puzzles and shoot some things.
Mm-hmm.
And then it breaks up the monotony because you're walking around solving puzzles and then you shoot some stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, fuck those little spider things because they suck, and there's just never really a great way to handle them.
Yeah. Sometimes I just walk through them and let them bite me, and then I stomp on them and kill them instantly.
Yeah.
Take a little damage to kill them. But yeah, I don't like it's weird. Like I genuinely say that like I feel like I've put probably 7 hours in this game, and I've only got 2 hours and 30 minutes. Now, granted, I did lose about 30 minutes.
True.
Because
like even if you
I
round it
died.
up in an hour, like you would still say you felt like you've played this game longer than that time.
Yeah, and I guess it's weird. It's like it's the opposite of time flies when you're having fun. I guess when you're having fun, time doesn't fly. It's weird.
I think it's because your brain is just like some of this stuff. Not to oversell it, because I'm really bad at doing that. But some of the puzzles, I think are like on the level of like The Witness sort of stuff.
Sure.
Like less systematic, which is what Witness tries to work itself around, right? You're always solving a line puzzle. It's not like that, but like some of the stuff that was observational in The Witness, like it's that, but it's claustrophobic. It's a more simplified and more sort of like rough way of doing it. Like it's not as polished, but it's there.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to really be paying attention. Especially with some of the stuff that's like just like optional.
Well, a lot of it is. Like that was, man, I kind of regret the way I probably approached the review, because like looking back now, if you'd said how would I make this game better, remove the enemies is probably number one. That fix the combat or remove the enemies altogether is basically the option. And like I didn't think of it at that time because I thought of it as a horror game, because my understanding of horror games, despite not playing a lot of them, was that the pinnacle was like this because that's what Resident Evil was. And so, like, I look back at the combat, I'm like, well, it's pretty primitive in hindsight.
Yeah.
This is pretty primitive, too. Point, gun, shoot.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hit the glowy thing, which, Jesus Christ. We can stop with the glowy thing.
Going back to Zelda. But,
my glowy eye. Not supposed to get anything in it.
It's weird. Like I'm enjoying the game. I really am. I like I said, I would totally be fine with creepy vibes, exploration in this hotel with puzzles. I wouldn't even say like, because I'm trying to think of a horror game where there's no combat. I mean, like you could think of like Amnesia, but I wouldn't want to play. I wouldn't want to play the game like that.
Yeah.
Running away from stuff.
I'm trying to think of horror games that have no combat. Like, I mean, you could have just had him take photos of the enemies. You know what I mean? Like, you could have just gone full Fatal Frame, even basic Fatal Frame.
Yeah.
Right. So, like, oh, it's there, and there's a fail state that'll send you back to a previous save, but it's pretty easy to avoid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think there is a way. You kind of have to have the monsters.
I think you have to have a. Honestly, you know what? More variety would also save this game, because when you move into the secondary part of this game, which is much shorter, so it's not like the second half, but it's the same enemies. You're like, geez. So it makes it monotonous in that way. And then, like, the combat isn't like amazing, so it's just shoot at the thing. I heard them little fucking spider things making noise, so I gotta look at the walls and the ceiling.
Yeah. I don't know, but I'm enjoying it.
I'm gonna say there's a couple. As you go, as you go through the hotel, it's great. But even in the second part, it is still that like it just feels like they were still firing on all cylinders puzzle wise. Because there's definitely stuff in the second half I didn't solve too.
Okay.
And then, of course, at that point, I'm thinking, did I need something from the hotel
That you can't go back to?
that I can't go back to?
Well, there you go. But yeah, that's basically where I stopped. So I'll pick it back up next week. We do have an email. And we also have a tweet. I want to read off that tweet as well. The email comes in from Dustin, and it's titled "Rock Lobster." Don't particularly know why. Must be a big fan of the B-52s. It says, "Hey guys, miss me? Well, after skipping Resident Evil, since I don't own it yet, and Pillars of Eternity, since I'm still playing Baldur's Gate 3, and I didn't need to CRPGs at the same time, it was Fobia that pulled me back in. All I knew about this game was word of mouth from Drew saying that Anthony had high praise for this game. Then I saw it on sale for like $10 on Amazon. So basically going into this blind. You did the exact same thing I did." After the opening, I wondered what the hell I am playing. The aggressive jump cuts and the PS2 era character models leading into unexplained supernatural time warps, I didn't know what to expect. But after playing another half hour or so, it started making more sense that the camera is showing you the past and you're in the present. I kept getting handgun ammunition everywhere, so I figured this would turn into some survival horror instead of one of those running away helpless all the time, which are my least favorite horror games. They really liked their puzzles in this game. I came across a set of 4 cabinets, and there was a note in each stack saying there's a pattern. I still haven't figured that one out.
They're fucking with us? That's no 3 of us. That's 3 of us that can't figure this out. And it's like, this game isn't big enough for me to figure that there's a solution online.
I bet you $10 there's a walkthrough of this game. I haven't looked at a walkthrough, but I bet you there's a walkthrough. For having a game that has you scavenge in drawers and look for bullets and other items in 2 different time periods, I wish they had a larger area for your cursor to actually zone in on the items rather than being very specific. Yes, I agree with that. The cursor is a little bit small. You got to kind of be pinpoint accurate with that thing.
Yeah, no, I agree. That is... I wonder if that's intentional. Not that I'm saying it's good. But that way, like, they could hide stuff better. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, possibly. My thing is like, if I'm at a set of drawers and I open the first one and I want to open the bottom one, how many times have I opened the first one again? You know what I mean? Says it takes quite a while to even get a gun, and as far as enemies go, I would usually save bullets and run by them, but this game I have been killing most of them. I find the shooting fine. The only trouble I had was that glitchy first boss. Oh boy. I would just stay in the main room and with the one entrance so it could only enter from one area and not sneak up behind. But once it got into the room, it would go from ceiling to floor to ceiling 3-4 times instantly, and I couldn't aim fast enough to even shoot it. Also, the big thing would get stuck on the geometry a lot, and its poison spray could hit me through walls.
Oh,
Great.
God.
The dumb thing took me like 5 or 6 tries, and it wasn't even that tough of a boss. I kept running out of bullets, but I did find one spot that had some extra. I'm enjoying the game. I want to know more about the gas mask girl and Mr. Rock Lobster. Oh, it's the guy, the Nemesis guy.
Oh.
And how they are even related and what happened in the past during the mining operation in the 20s and the hidden experiments in the 1960s.
This is all connected. I'm not saying it's good, but maybe it'll be so bad it's funny.
And how it all connects to the present.
Like, maybe going through this time, instead of just like taking it all in, I'll just be like, this is bad. Oh, God.
Says, I'm towards the end of the hotel section, but there's so many boxes and safes I haven't unlocked. I definitely know I'm missing something, but I think a lot of those are optional. Until next time, Dustin.
A lot of them are optional, yes. I'm sure we've said that
Yeah.
already, but a lot of them you can skip. But then the game tells you, "Hey, dumbass, you didn't solve all these puzzles." And I went, "God damn it!"
Gotta go back.
Thank God for New Game Plus.
And then we also have a tweet. A tweet comes in from Kevin. It says, I have to ask, since Sega has 3 major releases in the next 4 months, do you plan on playing them in general? Also, what do you consider Sega's franchise series? I used to think it was Sonic, but quality-wise, it has to be Yakuza or Persona at this point.
Okay, so I don't know what Sega's big. I know what 2 are. What are the other 2?
No, it's 3 major releases in the next 4 months.
Okay, so what's the other 1?
I don't know.
Persona Tactica.
Persona Tactica, Persona 3 Portable, or not, Persona 3 Remake.
Yakuza. It just came out, right?
And then Yakuza 8.
Okay, alright. Yeah, because if we're counting... Okay. Makes sense.
That's a good question. So, I never look at the Persona games as Sega titles.
Because they're Atlas, and
they're technically
Atlas is pretty,
Atlas.
Still its own thing.
Yeah, but I mean, I know they're I guess they're produced by Sega?
No, Sega owns Atlas.
Sega owns Atlas, that's right.
So it's, what is it? It was Sega Sammy was the parent company, because everybody thinks Sega's a lot like the new THQ there was for a while.
Yeah.
When it was THQ and THQ. And it was like, which THQ is making the games and which THQ is the conglomerate that collects all this shit.
Yeah.
Sega's sort of like that. So at one point it was like Sega, the game publisher, and Sega Sammy was like, there's another Sega logo that most people don't know about, which is red, not blue. Mm-hmm. And it's like angular. And that is the company, not the video game part.
Right. Sega's a lot like Mitsubishi, right? They do a lot of stuff.
Well, a lot of the Japanese, like Square is some electric company, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Like Power Lines type of electric company, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I'm wrong. But they're something like that. Insurance, maybe. Like a bunch of them are insurance companies too. Like what? It was like something that they just did for why not? Like From Software. From Software was building, I mean, at least they were in the software field, but like they were building like management tools.
Okay.
And then it was just like, people, what are we gonna do? And it's like, video games.
Yeah, we'll do Kingsfield. Bam.
And then they did Kingsfield. Yeah. And they were like, I don't know, what if we made sword and sorceries, or what if we made mechas? And one guy just had to come in and be like, if you're making sword and sorcery. But yeah, it's like weird stuff like that. I don't know, like anything Yakuza has me hooked. Basically.
I think
even if I'm not going to play it right away, I pick it up because I mean,
I would still say Sonic is still with their biggest franchise.
I wasn't talking about
right?
that part yet, but I would say like if we're going to play any of the 3 games coming out, like I'm in for Yakuza. I know you are.
Oh, definitely.
You're probably in for Persona, right?
Yeah, probably.
Like, I'm not a Persona guy. I'll probably try Tactica, because I like some of those tactics games.
Persona 3 Remake's probably going to be really good, though.
I'm probably going to play the Sonic game on iOS. Like, it's... I'm in with Sega stuff. I just don't really mess with a lot of the Atlas RPGs, just because I just never have. Not that I don't want to. I have some of them.
Yeah. No, they're quality RPGs. They really are.
I know. It's just one of those, like, you have to be in the mood.
Yeah. So like I would still say that Sonic, but everybody knows who Sonic is.
He's the only one that has like a big
movie.
Hollywood movie.
Yeah. But what's bigger? Would you say Yakuza is bigger or Persona is bigger?
Yakuza.
You think so?
Yep.
You may be right.
I think Yakuza is such a unique experience. I know that saying that, like, discounts the existence of Shenmue. I understand that. But Shenmue, there's a reason why Shenmue doesn't gel with a lot of people, and it's because it is uniquely fine in being a miserable experience at times. That is not necessarily the case with Yakuza. Yakuza is basically, if you took Shenmue and took the aspects that made it a simulation out, right? Like, Kiryu doesn't have the same, like, you don't have to watch him take off his shoes as he enters his house and stuff,
No.
right? Like, you don't have that with Kiryu. There are gaps in time where you're not following Kiryu all the time, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you switch perspectives in certain games. Like,
tons
there
of
is a video game aspect to Yakuza that I think is inherent that is not in Persona, because Persona is a very standard JRPG. Like, it is, if you do not like that type of game, like if you do not like Final Fantasy, which is much easier, you're not going to like this.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll like the style of Persona more than Final Fantasy, but not the core gameplay of it.
Yeah.
When, like, if you can mash on some buttons, you can probably make it through a Yakuza game, and then there's a bunch of mini games in it, and it takes itself seriously, even in the stupid parts.
So that's the thing, is that Yakuza, the writers of Yakuza take their main story very, very seriously, but they also, it's almost like they have two different teams of writers.
Like the one that teams up with a pizza chain in Japan to stop human trafficking.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, boys. Like, I'd be so angry if I was the guy that signed that contract. Like, what did you do to my pizza chain, man?
Dude, so I don't know, because Yakuza, like, is a serious series, but it's, oh man, that's so perfect, right? So
right, but I think though, like, take a look at any of the, like, Kiryu disco dancing.
Yeah.
You buy it that character does it.
Yeah.
Even though the absurdity of the situation,
yeah,
it still somehow feels real.
Because
like,
it's played stone cold sober.
Yep.
Yeah. That's what makes it great.
But so, even when is, I was gonna say, even when there is like those brief moments where they're like writing actual jokes, it still works. Like the getting the porn mag for the kid.
Yeah.
The stealth section, and all the women show up that he knows. And he's like, I'm sorry, kid, I can't do it.
It's so good. It's so good. But that's the great thing that they've done, right? Is that they have basically took a very serious character in Kazuma Kiryu and put him in these crazy, ridiculous situations. With the Like a Dragon series, which, with the Ichiban series, they've taken this goofy idiot dude and put him in a serious situation. So they've almost reversed the roles to the point where they even made it opposite of each other with the clothing they wear. Kiryu wears a white suit with a purple shirt. Ichiban wears a purple suit with a white shirt. Like, they totally do this on purpose. And I love Kiryu as a character. I love Ichiban as a character. And it's played off so stinking well. But the thing is that if you go play Like a Dragon, so Yakuza 7 essentially, there's some hardcore moments in there. Like, one of the things that I think the developers or the writer came out and stated, like, talking about Like a Dragon, was like that game specifically was kind of a social commentary on how Japan as a whole treats their downtrodden, homeless, people, people who are hard on, having hard times.
Yakuza 0 predicted a real life thing that happened in the United States.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, over a plot of land.
Mm-hmm. But they're doing like this like social commentary in all their games. They do it a lot.
I mean, they were. I think that shows even through the developer actions. I know it upset a lot of people, but when they were like remastering the 3, 4, and 5, right?
Yeah,
They specifically took out a trans character that they were like, it's offensive because that is not the game they want to make. I find it's pretty socially aware, like even in Zero, because that's kind of where I've at story wise. Still, they're hiring homeless people, but like the homeless people are not just bums. Like you end up starting to know them as characters later.
mm-hmm.
I don't know, there's just a weird sense of like city that you don't get in another game. Even
Dude, like a Dragon, you are homeless for like 4 chapters of that game.
wow.
Like you know, I mean, you got to play that game.
I mean, I want to. I want to go through all of them. I have. There, it is a series that I have picked up just because I was like, as soon as I realized what it was, that it wasn't just a brawler, I was like, it's a brilliant series. It's essentially River City Ransom. Like, I love River City Ransom, but that's what this is. You beat up guys, you get money out of them, and then you have a small little town that you can go through and buy items, and then beat up more guys and do little quests.
Yeah,
And sometimes there's dodgeball. It's that's what this is.
yeah.
So I'm like,
mean,
I love that series. I loved the 3DS game. I was like, I'm gonna pick up Yakuza because again, as soon as you realize it's like an RPG too, it makes that game make a lot more sense. And honestly, the first one I finished all the way through is Fist of the North Star because I was just like, well, it's a standout.
It's so good too.
But it's so good, and again, the writing is so fucking great in it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you play it in Japanese, well, I kind of wish now that I had but I didn't play the Yakuza games first. It's the Yakuza cast doing all the characters,
Yeah,
so it's not the original voice actor for Kenshiro; it's the voice actor for Kiryu.
yeah.
So like, I'm like, I don't know. There's just this sense of community around the world inside Yakuza and I guess the business side of it, because it even shows more when they did the remake of Ishin. They brought back the actors from Zero because they were remaking it.
Yeah.
Because the bosses from Zero
Or based
are
on
so
those
good.
guys. Yeah.
They were like, no, come back. We want you in this remake of a game. Not that the performances previous were bad, but you're such fan favorites that like people want to see you. And all the guys were like, yeah, no, it's great.
Dude,
of course they're getting paid, but you know,
sure.
they say it's a lot of fun. So
like I go back to Yakuza 7 because of how brilliant that game is. Like you turn into a homeless dude for like 4 chapters, and let me tell you something. Like, you were poor. Like it takes a lot to get money in that game. Like at the very beginning, because you're just
welcome to the real world.
Yeah, I mean they push that hardcore. Like one of your party members is a homeless dude, you know, and he becomes like, you know, a standard party member for you for a long time. You know, oh man, it's so good, dude. Like that, I cannot suggest that enough. But going back to the question at hand,
like, geez, which ones are we gonna play, Drew?
I'm playing Yakuza. Like you guys, dude, I can't wait for Infinite Wealth.
Sorry?
I can't wait for Infinite Wealth.
Dude, I can't believe they're doing a PS4 version for that. Still.
Oh, yeah.
Like shit, I'm gonna have Yakuza 1 to 8 on PS4.
Yeah, you're set.
Plus Ishin, plus Zero, you know, like god damn. I have too many games to play already, you know, so that's the reason why I'm like, I don't need to upgrade. But yeah, like as for like mascots, I guess, or like the Prime series from Sega, I think if you're talking to video game players, it's probably Yakuza. the one that gets the most sort of critical acclaim.
Sure.
I think if you're talking to most normal people, it's still Sonic.
Yeah.
If they even know who Sega is nowadays, but
Well, I mean, truth be told, I mean, I know you seem to like it. The new Sonic game was pretty good. Frontiers, right?
yeah, I mean, like, there, the newest game isn't like terrible either. It's fine. It is what it is. But Frontiers was pretty good. But I mean, some people are like, well, it's because Sonic hasn't had a good game in a while. Like, no, it's because I don't go into this expecting a masterpiece.
Yeah.
Like, if you go in expecting a 10 and you play Frontiers, I have some bad news for you. You're going to be extra disappointed. Like, I don't know what to tell you. You should alter your expectations. Let your mind be blown. Don't expect to be delivered that with every game. It's just not going to happen. But I think they did some really interesting stuff and did some things that I think should return. There's some stuff that should definitely be a one-time and done. But in the grand scheme of things, it's like, this is what Sonic needed. This is what Sonic 06 should have been. This is what Sonic 06 wanted to be, really. But, like, Sonic still sells because even the bad Sonic games really aren't bad. Like, the bad Sonic games are bad. Some of the worst. Like Sonic 06, bad.
Very bad.
Sonic Boom, bad. But if you ask people, like, what's a bad Sonic game? Sonic Boom games on 3DS, they're fine. They're not great, but, like, in comparison to other tie-in shit, it's okay. Like, they're fine. Sonic Forces, a lot of people go, Sonic Forces was a bad game. No, Sonic Forces wasn't great. Sonic Forces was fine. Sonic Forces was the combat in Fobia, like...
Yeah, standard.
That's, and people have to remember, like, Sonic isn't for adults. As much as I like Sonic, I also understand that, like, it is probably a lot of nostalgia. Like, I'm not gonna say Sonic 06 is good. I'm not gonna tell you... I won't even tell you that, like, Sonic Forces is great. Sonic Forces is, like, on a good day, if I'm feeling really happy, a 7. So, like, I don't really know what people expect, though, because it's kids shit. Like, it's kids. Like, that is something that the comic that I buy and read understands. Like, this is a cartoon character. And I think you just saw, like, what a cartoon character can also do with Mario. Like, he had a successful movie. He has a really good game that's out right now. But is that game amazing? Like, it's not as good as the other Mario stuff, right? So does that mean, like, this is a bad game now? Like, no. The expectations are a bit higher because Mario games are generally better. But, like, it's still good. Like, just because he's had good games in the past doesn't mean, like, the games now are going to be shitty all the time. Which is what I think a lot of people that want to shit on Sonic think. But it's a cartoon character at the end of the day, and, like, they all sell out and do bad games now and then.
I actually played it. I haven't played a lot of Sonic games, but I think I reviewed the
Lost World.
Yeah, 3DS version of Lost World was actually really good.
Lost World was another game that a lot of people said was bad.
No,
and I'm not going to tell you, not the 3DS version. Generally, people don't know that one exists. But the Wii U version, which is now on PC, but without the Zelda and Yoshi levels, which is still weird. There's a level that has Sonic lift up the Triforce. It's fine. Like, if you wanted a 3D Sonic, like a true 3D Sonic, that felt like old Sonic, it was pretty good at that.
Yeah.
And the 2D levels were fine. Again, like Lost World, like, I would not give it any more than probably a 7.5. It's good. It's not great. It's not going to blow you away. But between masterpieces, you can't just have them one after another. There's going to be things that you play that are not as good. That's literally how you develop a taste.
I'll be honest with you. I
And
mean,
Sonic has a lot of shit. Don't get me wrong. Like Sonic Genesis is one of the worst ports of anything ever. Do not play that game on GBA. It's so bad.
but let's be fair here to Sonic. The Sonic series probably has the best Mario Kart clone ever.
Yeah, Sonic Racing. Oh, I would say it surpasses Mario to some extent.
Maybe.
Now, not Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. That's a lot of content.
Sonic
even
and
before the
All-Star Racing
Racing
Transform is amazing.
It's like, hey, did you like Diddy Kong Racing? But you were kind of like, I really wish I could do all the stuff in one course instead of having to choose. There you go.
Yeah, no, that's a fantastic game. I absolutely love that game.
I'm gonna look. Maybe we should save this for another Phoenix Down. Me going through the Sonic games and either defending or crucifying them. But like, Sonic has really good racing games.
Yes.
Excluding Drift. Drift, they're Game Gear games. I don't know what people would expect. They're just not great. They're fine, I guess. Suppose like what they are, but like I would not play them. Sonic R is a good experiment for something that, probably shouldn't be done again, but it's interesting. I would, again, not good, but it is its own thing. But Sonic Riders is one of the best racing games I've ever played. I've probably said this before, but like the fact that it is a hoverboarding game, like racing game, but it requires you to focus on like basically gas usage. So you turn the corner, your air hoverboard lets out more air, which means you can't boost and you can't fly as far, right? Like eventually you run out of air all the time, but as you do certain things, it depletes more air, and then you have to run over certain spots to get more air or do tricks. And that is a hard thing to juggle.
No kidding.
And the learning curve is steep, and I don't know why there's multiplayer in that game, because good luck finding anyone that's on the same level. If you suggest to play that with someone and they don't know that game, you win. Don't bother.
Yeah. So, I don't know. That's as far as...
I would say Sonic, unfortunately. Yeah, as much as I wish I could say it was like something cooler for this day and age, but it's still Sonic. Sega can't get away from him.
Yeah. And you know what, Sega's got a resurgence going, man. Like
is Sega the new Capcom?
That's exactly what I was going to bring up.
Oh wow, okay.
If you remember, probably the
end of 360.
The end of the 360. Capcom was garbage, and then all of a sudden we got. Was a lot of it remakes? Sure.
I mean, no, I would say, think about it. Like, what they did was they put out the remake of Zero and Resident Evil, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then they put out the 4, 5, and 6 again. And then they were like, here's 7, and then here's a 2 remake. And then it was like, here's a 3 remake.
Yeah. Pretty quick
turnaround
on that
8, one. And then 4.
Yeah.
And then there's Monster Hunter World.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Monster Hunter World was the big one for them. That brought them into the forefront. Was like, oh man, so they actually know what they're doing, right?
Devil May Cry 5.
Devil May Cry 5.
Which is like, wow, there's a great Devil May Cry game. Not to say the 4 was bad, but it's just... And I liked DMC, but people did not.
I don't care what anybody says.
DMC is good, yes.
DMC is fucking amazing. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what they think. He's supposed to have white hair. They made that joke. I don't care. DMC is a fantastic game, and if you like action games, you are missing out if you're not playing that. I will champion that game forever. DMC is phenomenal.
Are you sure? Are you sure I'm not? Are you sure I'm the one that's inebriated?
No, I'm not. I am stone cold sober. You listen to me. DMC's amazing. Anyway, but yeah, but
3 words for you.
Suck it.
DMC.
I don't know. It's but yeah, Capcom. I mean, they made that big resurgence. I think it kind of started with Dragon's Dogma. Dragon's Dogma was kind of a big one for them.
Yeah, but I guess you're talking in terms of quality.
Oh God, yeah.
So I was gonna say sales wise.
Sales wise was not it, but
Sales wise, it ain't there, bud.
But it became a niche. People were really excited about Dragon's Dogma 2. And I think it was one of those games where it came out and a few people played it and said it's okay, and then some people were like, I don't care about this. Because that game's hard. That game is difficult. And to this day, Dying Light does a great job with it, but nothing compared to Dragon's Dogma with nighttime, darkness.
It's dark.
It is dark. You can't see crap. Do not go out at night. But yeah, I think Sega's definitely got a lot of tricks up their sleeve. And I think, a lot of it has to do with Yakuza. Like I remember, I'm gonna pull my inner hipster here and say I was playing Yakuza before it was cool, because I remember when it happened. I quit video games for about a year and a half when I started college, and partially because my PlayStation 2 would not keep a disc inside the drive. But then one day it started working again, and I was like, cool. I was like, all right, well, let's go play some video games. So I went to a GameStop, my local GameStop. I had a buddy at work there.
Cool. I'm not going to question this at all. I just hope it works.
Well, yeah. Well, it just started working. I put in a game and it started
working. Don't look
working.
at gift horse in the mouth.
Yep.
Just pretend this problem is not here and it'll go away.
So I went to GameStop. I've told this story before, but I went to GameStop and I was looking at the shelf and Metal Gear Solid 3 sitting there. And I'm like, whoa, they made a new Metal Gear Solid? And they're like, yeah. I was like, well, I got to play that. And I picked it up and I loved it. Loved Metal Gear Solid 3. Played all the way through it, and I was like, okay, I'm back into gaming. All right. So I went back to GameStop after finishing Metal Gear, and I was like, what's anything good to play right now? And they were like, there's a few things, but at that point, everybody's waiting on the new consoles. Everybody's waiting on PlayStation 3 or Xbox 360 and stuff like that. But I saw on the shelf Yakuza. Never heard of it before, didn't know what it was. I didn't know what a Yakuza was at that point. And I looked at the box, I was like, well, that's kind of cool looking. It's just Kiryu with his tattoo. And I looked at the back of it, and it looked almost like
Japanese Grand Theft Auto.
That's
how it was sold to me.
Yep. And I was like,
it was
okay.
Lies.
It was complete lies. And I picked it up and I played it and I was like, wow, this is not Grand Theft Auto. This is a beat 'em up. But then I was like, this is actually kind of cool. I was like, okay. And then the story was going kind of crazy, and I was like, oh, and it had those funny parts in it. And I was like, why is nobody talking about this game? I was like, how's nobody picking this up? And it's because they market it as a Japanese Grand Theft Auto. You don't drive in that game.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, okay. And then I saw that Yakuza 2 was coming out, and I was like, well, I'm there day one. I still freaking have my copies, my PS2 copies.
I have brand new copies I've never opened. When they went back on sale there for like a short period, I bought them because I didn't know Kiwami was coming or whatever. Was that before Kiwami? Maybe I already had Kiwami. Oh no, because they found copies of 3 and 4 as well. They were brand new, so I got like all of them at once.
Well, there you go.
Weird to buy a brand new PS2 game in like
right?
2019. No, would have been 2017, 2018.
And so but Yakuza 3 was kind of the one where everybody was talking about it. So I guess I don't know what happened.
Were they? Because I don't remember that at all.
Yakuza 3 was still definitely a niche title, but there were a lot more people talking about it than the first two. Because I feel like I'm like the only American that bought Yakuza 2.
I remember when Yakuza 5 came out, because it was a big thing that it was coming out at all.
Yeah.
And that was like right before PS4 came out.
Yeah. Well, I remember Yakuza 3, it was kind of a big deal because it was a PlayStation 3 title. I remember they released a demo for it, and people, I guess people played that demo and said, hey, this is actually kind of cool. And it's kind of goofy, and they were like, okay. And it started, kind of gathering a few more fans. And then 4 came out bigger and better in some cases. And then, I dropped off at that point because I was just like, I kind of got burned out because it was, it's another beat 'em up, kind of thing. And they're long games. Then I didn't play 5 or 6 until we did them for Phoenix Down last year. And I was like, okay, these are good, but they became very samey. And I was like, all right, the end goal is to get to Like a Dragon. That's the one I want to play. Because when I saw that they changed it to a turn-based role-playing game, I was like, okay, I got to try this. And then I played the Like a Dragon, and oh my god, dude, Like a Dragon. And when they came back, because then they started making Judgment and Lost Judgment, and they said, well, our Judgment series is going to continue, and it's going to be the beat 'em up. And our
There's some
Yakuza
with
series.
The actors' rights.
What now?
I'm pretty sure that's the reason why we won't get another Judgment game.
Oh, really?
Like, I'm pretty sure that's the reason why we don't have another Judgment game. I'm pretty sure that's the reason why we have Like a Dragon Gaiden. Not only is he a fan favorite, because I don't think the character from Judgment ever hit the same heights. Ever.
No, I doubt it.
What's his name?
I've never played him.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah, I don't know.
I thought you had played them, because I have not yet. I have those too.
No.
But yeah, like I'm pretty sure the reason why it didn't come to PC, maybe it isn't now, but like for a while it wasn't, because actors' likenesses in Japan, it was this like certain agency that the main character, like his actor, worked with, and that they were being a pain in the ass. And I'm pretty sure it was around the same time, like it became a problem again around the time of Lost Judgment, if I recall that correctly. I know there was a problem with his agency, but I don't recall if it happened twice or not, or if it was just like a space in between it exploded again.
Right.
And I think they got it all worked out, but I like the fact that we're not getting another. Maybe it's because the previous director left too, right?
Yeah.
The monkey ball guy.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm pretty sure that's the reason why they were like, you Like a Dragon Gaiden. We'll just tell Kiryu's story, because like that's what the character looks like. We took a celebrity and used his likeness, so now we're stuck.
Yeah.
Because that's one thing that you will notice, is that Kiryu and Majima don't look like anybody.
That's true. It makes sense to make Gaiden because a lot of time has passed in between Yakuza 6 and 7.
It makes sense to make Gaiden just because it's if they have a story they can tell, they should tell it.
Well, yeah, because it basically bridges the gap. Yeah, it bridges the gap between I think 6 and 7. Like what happened to Kiryu in between there.
Yeah. But even if it didn't, I'd still pay. They could have said, like, oh, this is when he was playing Secret Agent. I don't give a shit. Hand that shit to me.
No. So
this is where he moonlighted as a stripper. Sure, fuck it.
I'll do it.
I mean, that would seem in character. He'd be modest in private, but then be like very stoic on the stage. Just straight face the entire time, giving a lap dance to a woman, an old Japanese lady, and he's just staring off into space, like just totally unfazed.
Yep.
The sad part is you could picture this as a game in Yakuza.
Yeah, no,
I can. Too bold, but
I could even see it happening, like in my head.
Yeah,
it's so good. God, Yakuza's
anything
so good.
works in Yakuza somehow, and it still all feels fairly down to earth.
Well,
he picks up a motorcycle, bashes a guy in the head with it. Sure, fuck it, why not?
Yeah. The man who erased his name is currently on Game Pass today. So there you go.
I'll be buying it probably on PS4 where I have all the other games, but
yeah.
I'm willing to give money for that series. But I'm
There
also
you
willing
go.
to give money to Sonic every time he releases something. So what does that say?
Man, you like Sonic. That's what it says.
Well, sometimes you get a Sonic 06.
Well, sure. But yeah, that's it.
That's our conversation about Yakuza. Thanks for tuning in for this podcast about Fobia, everybody. Totally
I
deviated and just
I
started fucking sucking Yakuza's dick.
I thank you for that tweet. It sparked a good conversation. So there you go. If
It
you
did indeed.
if
It also
you
gave me a
would,
good idea to torture Drew and talk about every Sonic game that's ever been made.
I'm not worried about that.
How do you think?
But if you would like to send us an email, it is drew@ztgd.com. We are also, well, I'm on Twitter, foolishly. I am at DML Fury. The podcast itself is at ZTGD Phoenix Down. So if you send us a tweet, I'll definitely check it. I've been trying to keep up with checking it occasionally. We don't get many tweets, but if you do send one, I'll gladly read it out on the show.
The site is burning down. The least we can do is acknowledge you.
Yes, but yeah, that's pretty much it for us this week. I'm going to continue playing some more Fobia, make it through that hotel hopefully, or at least make it through that first boss fight, which is coming right up.
The problem with having boss fights and like it feels like it breaks it up into like the hotel into thirds.
Right.
But that's not really necessarily true.
Mm-hmm.
Because technically, what it does is you got the boss fight, I believe, on the second floor first, and then the boss fight in the piano room later, and then there's like a brief encounter with Rock Lobster. His name, because I'm not going to talk about like what else do I have to call him? He's Rock Lobster now.
True. There you go, Rock Lobster.
There's a counter with Rock Lobster before you go into the second half of the game,
Gotcha. Okay.
which again is shorter.
Would you say I'm about halfway through the game?
Bro, clearly I don't remember. That was my point. Like, it's hard to tell when it feels like it's breaking up into thirds, but I apologize, didn't finish my thought. It feels like it's broken up into thirds, the first half, but like really the time between the first boss and the second could be a lot smaller.
Yeah.
You know how time dilates with this game. You feel like you
true.
played it for 8 and 2 hours in. You're like, where the fuck how is both time moved so slowly and only been 2 hours?
Right.
How I've been sitting on this couch for 8 but only timed for 2.
Yeah, that's how I felt. And not in a bad way. Usually that's a bad sign.
That was the problem I had with Days Gone, sort of, where I'd be like driving so long, and be like, how long is it? It's like it's been an hour. I'm like, the gameplay feels like it's been 3 days.
Yeah.
Why am I driving everywhere? God damn it. That's me in real life, though. That's me going to work. Why am I driving anywhere? God damn it.
Yeah.
Why am I not allowed to deteriorate in a forest like all other living things?
My commute is 3 minutes, so I'll take it.
Ugh, fuck you.
It's awesome.
My
anyway,
commute is 20 minutes to an hour and a half.
Oh yeah, no, I'm good. But that's going to be it for us this week. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for the email and for the tweet. Keep them coming. Let me know how you're faring with Fobia. And,
please let us know if you can pronounce Dinfna.
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 Yep, Saint Dinfna. No. But
that's did they forget a vowel?
I feel like they did, right?
Delphina?
That would work.
No, because there's an N.
There's an N.
That's the problem. There's too many N's, and it feels like wherever you're supposed to put a vowel, and like the N doesn't work. I don't know. It's an awful name.
Yeah. But yeah, we're going to get out of here. Until next time, I am Drew.
I'm Anthony.
And we are out of here. You guys have a great week, and we'll be back next week with the continuation of Fobia.